The afternoons in Mycenae were always marked by the sound of the winds, but on that day, something different was in the air. Hercules, the immortal hero, was summoned once again for a merciless task, part of the 12 labors imposed by his cruel uncle, King Eurystheus. He had already defeated the Nemean lion in the first task, but with each new challenge, the trials became more difficult. Eurystheus, with his contemptuous gaze, revealed Hercules' new mission: to slay the Hydra of Lerna, a monster with many heads that regenerated with each strike. The creature also had an immortal head, which could not be destroyed with mere force. The challenge seemed impossible, but Hercules accepted, determined to complete yet another task. With his nephew Iolaus by his side, Hercules set out towards Lerna. Along the journey, they met a hermit who gave them crucial advice. The only way to defeat the Hydra was to cauterize the wounds immediately after cutting the heads, to prevent them from regenerating. With this strategy in mind, the two heroes were better prepared for what lay ahead. Arriving at the swamp of Lerna, the environment already seemed dark and hostile, as if the very land had been shaped by the presence of the monster. Suddenly, the Hydra emerged from the waters, its multiple heads moving with great agility and its eyes glowing with malice. Hercules, with his immense strength, struck the first head, but to his surprise, two new ones grew in its place. The monster was even deadlier than he had imagined. The battle with the Hydra became a nightmare. With every strike, new heads appeared, making the monster even stronger. Hercules realized that the fight would be far harder than he had anticipated, and the regeneration of the heads became an immense challenge. Iolaus, quick to think, soon remembered the hermit's advice. It was necessary to cauterize the wounds to stop new heads from growing. So, Iolaus ran to gather dry branches and set them ablaze. Whenever Hercules cut off a head, Iolaus rushed to cauterize the wound, preventing the Hydra from regenerating. Despite their strategy, the fight dragged on, and the Hydra seemed to have infinite strength. But, little by little, Hercules began to realize that he should not strike the heads randomly. Among the many heads, there was one central head that seemed to be the true essence of the monster. This head was immortal and regenerated regardless of the strikes. With this discovery, Hercules' mission became clear. He needed to focus on the central head, the only one that, if destroyed, would end the Hydra once and for all. With Iolaus' fire always at hand, the hero began cutting off the outer heads, cauterizing them, and advancing toward the immortal head. Finally, with all his strength, Hercules struck the immortal head of the Hydra. He knew this was his only chance. His sword cut through the creature's flesh, destroying the central head, and with that, the entire monster collapsed. The Hydra, which had seemed indestructible, was defeated. Hercules, tired and sweating, watched the creature's body fall. He knew the battle had been epic, but at the same time he felt immense satisfaction. With Iolaus by his side, he looked at the victory now within his grasp. After the victory, Hercules and Iolaus returned to Mycenae, ready to report to Eurystheus. But, contrary to what they expected, the king of Mycenae showed no recognition. Eurystheus, with his merciless gaze, simply said, "The task is done, Hercules, but you are nothing more than a tool in my hands. Do not be fooled. True greatness does not come from killing monsters, but from submitting to my commands." Hercules, with the calmness only he possessed, replied, "I do not need your approval. The Hydra is dead, and that is what matters." With that, he and Iolaus walked away, knowing that what truly mattered was the victory itself, not the recognition of a king who would never see them as equals. However, as always, a new mission would soon arise. Hercules knew that no matter how one task was completed, another would take its place. There was no rest for a hero. The battle against the Hydra had ended, but Hercules' journey was far from over. He already knew the next challenge would be even harder. But, as always, he was ready to face it.